Good morning.
It is a good morning because I have someone very special on the phone with me today. I'm Dr. Kevin Devine, and I am so very excited to have one of the nation's top dental coaches on this call. Paula Harris has worked in dentistry for many years, and before that was a small business owner. She has been a coach to many successful dental offices across the country, and I owe my success to her as well. Paula, thank you so much for offering to share your experiences and thoughts about dental membership plans with the teams today. These teams are interested. Oh, I'm sorry, Paula. Go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you so much for having me, Kevin.
Well, you're welcome. I know that you've worked with teams. This is an idea that you talked to me about many years ago and are passionate about helping dentists and dental teams and have thought this is an idea that's very important, right?
Absolutely, yes. I'm excited to be able to share, and you're very generous in the introduction here. But you've been a good friend to me for many years. I remember the times we presented together and all the fun we've had, and you're such an instrumental part of our mastermind group for other doctors, sharing openly about your transition success. And so I'm just thrilled to be able to talk about this topic today of membership plans.
Well, you know, Paula, I think in a dental office, every team member is a key employee, but as dentists, we expect our team members to be able to read our minds, to solve all our problems, to keep all the team members happy, and to make sure we make money. And I think we're going to talk about a way that we can do that today.
That's exactly right. That's a big demand, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to discussing all these ideas.
Paula, how did the concept of membership plans originate?
Well, you know, I'm not sure. I won't take credit for that by any means, but I noticed in 2010, the insurance benefits began to shift. I began seeing some things, and I read an article that Charles Blair wrote and some others, and they were beginning to introduce the dental diagnosis codes. Some of that, the ICD-10s, have been delayed a little bit. I saw the insurance companies beginning to create risk assessments per patient to determine benefits. We're seeing some of that beta tested. Some low-risk patients were only allowed one prophy a year. I know my husband was on a dental plan with the city government, and they reduced his hygiene visits to one a year instead of two. Did you see any patients with that, Kevin, at all?
Yeah, we sure did. It, you know, I think anybody that's been in dentistry in those last 10 years even has seen changes in insurance, and we keep getting pinched from the insurance. The patients are seeing it too now. They're getting lower benefits, and they're coming in with questions, and all of a sudden things that were covered aren't covered. So it's definitely a changing environment and making it harder and harder for us to succeed as independent dentists.
It absolutely is. I see patients losing money. You know, one of the tools that we use is doing the math with the patients. But, you know, so I began to think, put things together like, you know what, there's got to be a better way. And in our practice, the practice I worked in was a fee-for-service practice, multi-doctor office. And we began creatively thinking about, you know, patients putting things on layaway and taking automatic drafts. And so the idea came to, you know, why can't we just expand that into membership plans? And it's really taken off. I mean, you guys were on the cutting edge of this.
Well, we saw the same things that you were seeing, and have four close colleagues that you know and have been friends for years, that in each of our practices, we have a mastermind. We talk regularly, like all dentists get together and complain about the world. But we came up with this idea, and then along with your help, we started some membership plans in each of our offices, and it's tough doing it on your own. We ran into some struggles, and we would meet regularly, and we finally kind of distilled it down to what was working best for each of us. And I think we've got something that works now. But let me ask you: do you think it's critical? Do you think it's important for all dental offices independent dental offices to have membership plans?
You know, Kevin, that's a great question. I definitely think it's something we need to be considering. Every office needs to look into a membership plan, creative ways of financing our patients. And this is just proven to be a wonderful method for so many offices. And you know, Charles Blair had a quote from a few years back because he saw some of these things too. And he said, you know, the current status of a non-PPO practice is fewer patients, new patients, and less business. And so most dentists are really signing up on the PPOs, and 85% of dentists participate in at least one PPO. But you know what he also said, and this is what struck me, was dentists have to produce 25% more in hopes of making the same income. So that just kind of blew me away. And even he recognized that in order to compete and in order to stay profitable, we're going to have to consider an in-office membership plan. He recognized that as well. So I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, 25% more is huge. That's tough to do.
So you got to work 25% harder to make the same amount of money, which is kind of crazy.
I think one thing that, as you being my coach, I realized was, or didn't realize till you pointed out, was just how much we write off for these PPO plans. Mm-hmm. And it's almost sickening once you find out the amount of money that we're working hard to earn, and then we just write it off to be in this plan. Well,
I'll tell you, I have teams that I track all over the country, and right now I'm seeing 25 to 45% in adjustments of their gross production. So that's insane.
It is.
The other thing, I think there's lots of reasons, as I mentioned, we get more new patients with no insurance. There were some statistics a while back that the average dental practice, 72% of their patients had insurance. Well, we know that only about 40-50% of the population has dental, so we're missing a lot of people who aren't coming because they don't have insurance or they think they can't come. And then one of the other things I love about this is it creates retention for our existing patients, because, you know, imagine, you know, they're watching an ad on TV for some dental office for a free visit, you know, and they just got a bill from you in the mail for their last visit. What are they going to do? They're going to put that bill on the bottom of the stack, and they're going to go to the office with the free visit, you know, something like that. It just becomes all about money at that point. So I think it creates a lot of retention. Is that what you're seeing?
We definitely have seen that. And, you know, what you said about the uninsured patients, I think there's this misconception among dentists, myself was included in that the insured patients are our better patients. And we found that in our practices that with the membership plans that we're actually producing, this was a surprise to us, for these patients, the membership patients are actually producing more per patient in the practice than the insured patients are.
That's amazing. And
we've also seen, to speak to your other point about the uninsured patient, is that they don't come into the dentist, and now that we've offered these plans and we've marketed it, they're coming in, and what they're telling us is they couldn't afford the dental care, and now they can. And it's really a misconception with the uninsured patient, but that's the general consensus out there, is that they can't afford dentistry.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's a mentality. So I've seen these plans really attract the uninsured patient, and you know, there's less checkout in hygiene. Retirees, oh my goodness, my husband's one of them. You know, he lost his benefits. Now what? And the practice where we go, they have a membership plan. I'm a member myself on a membership plan. So we love it. And, you know, there's just that less congestion at the front when all those hygiene checks. Some offices have 3-4 more hygienists checking out. And if it's already paid for, hey, you can take care of those patients that have large cases that you're closing. So better acceptance. The dentist and the patient are more in control. Here's a big one. It eliminates the X-ray objection. Oh my gosh, how many times have we heard that? Well, I don't want X-rays today because I don't want to pay for them.
We hear that all the time, and we have new patients in with that objection. And then when we talk to them about our membership plan, and they hear that the X-rays and everything are included, all of a sudden now they're agreeing to the panel, the bite wings, everything.
Yeah.
Because it's being included in their fee. And so it makes, and everybody listening knows that if we have all the proper X-rays, we can diagnose better, we can treat better, we find things that we wouldn't have found before, we're not handcuffed. So that alone creates more production for the practice and better treatment for our patients.
It sure does. That's exactly right.
And, there's, like you mentioned, there's so many choices today for patients with corporate spending big bucks. We've had that happen in our area where some of the new corporate dentist offices have opened up, and this just creates loyalty. People are joined in the membership plan, and they want to stay with you. And it's just, like you said, too, with the hygiene, we all have this where patients, they're told to come, we want them to come back in 6 months. They end up coming back in 8 months or maybe 2 years because they forget with the plan, and they're given 2 cleanings a year, 2 hygiene visits a year. They come in, they schedule 6 months ahead. They don't object to that. It just makes practice so much more fun on these patients.
Yeah, they've got some skin in the game, and they don't connect that monthly dental insurance payment that comes out of their check with their dental practice care, and now when you keep it all in-house in the same place, all of a sudden it seems to bring out more commitment from the patient to follow through. I can't explain that. It's psychology, I guess.
No, I agree. And you had mentioned about the PPO, and I'm not going to advocate that everybody out there get out of all the PPOs they're on, which that would be great if you can, but it's not easy, and I know it's a scary decision. We've gone through this. We were members of one of the largest PPO companies in the country that I'm sure everybody on the call knows who I'm talking about, and went to get out of it. And if we didn't have a membership plan as an alternative, I think we would have lost a lot of patients. We ended up losing almost nobody because people said, well, what am I going to do now that you don't take this plan? And we had something to offer them.
That's exactly right, Kevin. And I've watched the numbers since you dropped that plan, and you guys have excelled. I mean, you're climbing instead of staying the same or dropping as everyone fears. Now, every practice is going to be different, and you're right. It's not right for everyone. You have to go through a process to make that work well. But it's been so exciting to see the results that you've had in the last year.
Yeah, just not writing off that 25% you talked about is a big help there. But you don't want to lose a lot of patients either, and that's the scary part. And I really think having a membership plan, if you plan on getting out of a PPO, is essential.
Exactly. And
Paul, what successes have you seen in other teams that you coach that have put these plans in place?
Well, I've seen a lot of success, actually, and I think the 4 of you are really outstanding with your success because you've documented it very well. You have some statistics and, just the retention. The reduction in cancellations has been interesting to watch, like we've alluded to already, because of the commitment, to come on in. It's already paid for, and I'm a member, and I get these benefits and these perks for being a member. So I think that has really been a part of it. I think the case acceptance. I think the team, once the team gets rolling with it, it's such an easy no-brainer to the patient. And
right.
I had a practice that started early like you guys did, and they tracked how much production they increased in their first year with their membership plan. And this was, baby steps back in 2010, 2011. And they increased $60,000 in 1 year just from the membership plan. They said they thought that was production they had tracked that wouldn't have come in otherwise. So that's pretty fantastic. So I've seen it be a great alternative for teams, especially this time of year and we can talk about this in implementation, but we got benefits fairs coming up. And, patients are always asking, well, hey, what plan do you recommend? And they did that to me all the time, and I just said none, actually.
Right.
There really wasn't anything I could recommend in good faith. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of success with this transformation on the mentality of the team, the mentality of the patient, the mentality of the doctor, feeling more in control. That's a great feeling.
Definitely. Patients do comment on that. Something that we didn't anticipate, but patients do comment on how much better they feel about it. And they thank us all the time, which is amazing. But they thank us for offering this and tell us that, no one else is doing this for them.
Exactly. And, there's a great incentive for hygiene to stay full as well, like you mentioned earlier, when, they're not spreading out their visits to 8, because it's rare that we actually see all of our patients in hygiene every single 6 months. By the time they move their appointment, it ends up being 7 or 8, like you said. So there's more incentive. Because you guys have something in your membership. Why don't you tell us what you share with your patients about cancellations in the membership plan?
Well, we found that, to have a successful membership plan, and there are a lot out there, but to have a successful one, I think the plan needs to be not just a giveaway to the patients, but there has to be some benefits for the practice too.
Yeah.
And you can do that. It can be both beneficial to the patients and the practice. And one thing that we incorporated was a contract that the patient signs, tells them kind of the rules of the plan, and they have a cancellation fee in there that they agree to. So we explain to the patients that, in order for us to do this for them, that they basically have to earn the rewards they're going to get by following the rules. So it's funny, in my experience in 35 years of practice, having a cancellation fee never did much but make the patient mad.
Yes.
And they never paid it anyway, so it didn't matter if we made it $10,000, they still, or $1, they wouldn't pay it.
That's
so,
right.
But to our surprise, with the DenVantage, they sign the contract, they see it there. It takes the verbal skills to explain the contract to them, but once they see it, we haven't had much problem with cancellations, period, because of with these patients. But if we do, patients have paid that fee to stay in the membership. So it really, really has cut down on cancellations tremendously.
That is so fantastic, and by the way, the company we're talking about, I don't know if we've said the name, but you guys have created a membership plan called DenVantage, and you've been to our retreat and shared some about that, the leadership retreat we had, and it's really amazing what you've done with it, and I love that about cancellations, because everyone gets frustrated with them and want to slap the fee on, and you're right, they just complain or don't pay it or get upset. So this is a win-win. I call that a win-win, don't you?
Definitely. And thank you for mentioning DenVantage. I'm not here on the call just to sell our program, because there's a lot of them out there. But we feel ours is a little different because it's 4 working dentists that created it. I don't know of any other plan out there that is created by dentists and know the issues hands-on for a dental practice.
Right.
We've tried this in our 4 practices and continue to do it. We've got 300 and more patients in each practice that are members. And we're passionate about independent dentistry, and we see it going away. I've seen in journals, in the ADA journal, and the AGD journal, they're talking about the end of fee-for-service dentistry, and we don't believe that. We believe that there is going to be carpet dentistry, and I think there's going to be a separation. There's going to be carpet dentists, and there's going to be fee-for-service dentists, and it's going to be a lot clearer separation between the two, and we're here to help keep our profession as we've enjoyed it for 30 plus years alive and want to help other people. So that's why we came up with DenVantage, not just for our offices, but for others. And, one of the big misconceptions out there, I think, is that you lose money offering these membership plans and you want to limit their enrollment. And we see that with some of our dental office members that are scared to offer this to anybody but their new patients. Mm-hmm. But that is the case with many of the programs that are out there, and there's more and more of these dental membership companies putting programs out there, and a lot of them are, frankly, giveaway programs for the patients, and you do lose money. Mm-hmm. But we found if it's structured properly, the membership plan can be very profitable, it improves the routine in the office, and like I said before, you reward patients who are members that follow the guidelines, and they get rewarded by having lower fees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's really an interesting thought process that some of the dentists go through, and they think it's, I guess they put it in the box with another discount plan or PPO plan or something, and it really hasn't proved. I've watched adjustments on trackers for 8 years now, and fee-for-service practices, no, their adjustments have not gone up because of this plan. So I can confidently say that adjustments have not gone up in the 8 years that I've been watching this. So, really that's an unwarranted fear. Yeah, you may be giving the patient a benefit, but really the advantages are DenVantage. The advantages are so much higher than what you may be giving them as a deal. Yeah,
we find that patients, the patients we have that are members, become better patients. We're not fighting them over what treatment they should have. We're not having to answer all these questions about what my insurance will pay, and then we end up guessing wrong, and they're upset because the insurance didn't pay, and dealing with all that everybody out there is aware of. It's just they're better patients. They refer other patients. They're very happy in the practice. It's unbelievable how many of these patients talk about us now that were happy before, but now they're just excited and they go tell their friends, and it's a very inexpensive way to get new patients in the practice. That's for sure.
And that's so true. And the new patient thing, Kevin, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but that's a question I get all the time. How do you bring in a new patient? And you and I and some of the guys, we were emailing about this last week. There's several ways that I've seen doctors bring in new patients with this. And one is, maybe a $99 first visit, and then as long as they sign up for the plan. I'm not a big fan of giving it away for free. Some do that, but the catch to me is getting a commitment to be on the membership plan, and then you have a wonderful new patient, not just a price shopper. Is that kind of your concept about it?
Definitely. And we, just have used it in our regular marketing, whether you're using Facebook or newspaper, Yellow Page, whatever you're using to put it in there, and that we offer this. And when patients call up as new patients, we ask them if they've heard about it. A lot of them have, some of them haven't, and we talk to them about that. But it really, once you get patient interested and they know you offer this, it sells itself. We haven't had any patients, well, I can't say any, maybe one or two that we can't figure out why, but patients love it, and they don't say no to the membership plan. Mm-hmm. When we offer it to them, a lot of them are in disbelief that we would even do that. Mm-hmm. And they're excited about it. So
right,
you get a new patient at the door, even if they're shopping for a dentist and they hear this and you talk to them about it, I think you get them as a patient.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, you want to talk about some strategies for a second?
Yes, please. I think dental membership plans are becoming more common out there. There's people are aware of them now. I think we're beyond that awareness point. And I know there's people on this call listening that have either tried to do this and failed or are scared to do it. So let's talk about some strategies for implementing a membership plan in your office.
Okay. Well, here's a few that, because I get that question a lot. And I guess I would say really sitting down, as with anything, it kind of goes without saying, if you know Kevin and myself, that you start with purpose. Why are we doing this? And you start with vision. And then you look at your current situation. Okay, this has got to change. And then let's look at some strategies. So having the team on board, having the doctor on board is really important, but as you get started. So the verbal skills, I think, are the biggest challenge. I'll see teams come out of a meeting and, they're all excited, and then they put a flyer up and they have a brochure, and then they wait.
Exactly.
But that's not going to really get it, because we know we have to hear something 7 to 12 times before we know it. And then that's another thing, is they get discouraged by bringing it up 2 or 3 times. Well, what we also know is that it takes at least 4 times before 20% of your target market will say yes. So we think we're bugging them after the second time. Well, actually, that's not so. It takes about up to 15 times before we really bug them. Of course, you want to have multiple ways of reaching them. It's not just the same thing. So some of the questions that I have started with, and asking, is a big concept that we teach, right, Kevin?
Right.
So I'll ask a patient, like, have you heard of some of the insurance changes going on, like especially with your medical? And who doesn't have a story about their medical insurance being crazy right now? I mean, I had a crazy story, and most other people do too. So that's a great place to start. I've also used, have you thought about whether you're losing money on your dental plan or not? Would you like to do the math with me? So that kind of goes like, hey, you're paying average $30, $40 a month. That's $480 a year plus a deductible. And let's see, let me look back in your ledger. Do you know that when you come in twice a year for your hygiene visits, we're only getting about $250 of that as reimbursement. So what happens to the rest of that $250 or so dollars? Guess who's getting it? The insurance company. So that kind of makes sense. And I have teams with forms who kind of go through the math and do a complementary benefits analysis for them. And that seems to be very helpful. You think that's something you guys have used, or?
Oh yeah, doing the math with the patients are huge because they don't understand their insurance. I don't know, sometimes I think we don't understand their insurance. There's so many different plans out there. But to sit down and show them how much this can save them, because people think of that insurance as a safety net,
Yeah.
And it's easier to sell it to a patient maybe that's uninsured or lost their insurance. But there are people on bad plans that
Yes.
that we've had people, and we don't tell people that, look, you should drop your insurance and take this. But people, once they see the math, a lot of times they'll make that decision.
Yeah. And, there are teams that can take PPO plans and have this DenVantage plan or another membership plan alongside of that. You don't have to be fee-for-service to do this by any means.
Sure. I think it's a good tool. There's so many gurus out there in dentistry that say just you drop these PPO plans cold turkey and you do this and that. Having this tool can make that transition smoother, and you can do it at whatever pace you want. You don't have to jump out of all of them, but as you build your membership plan, you can slowly get out of some of these other plans that are costing you so much.
Absolutely. So a couple other strategies is I will ask patients, like, how many of your bills, your monthly bills, are auto draft? And a lot of people have auto draft now. Their cell phone is auto draft, their cable bill. My pest control company wants to do auto draft. The car payment, their insurance payments, their house payments. So many people now have auto draft. And so you say, if there were a way your dental visits could be auto draft and you could spread out your payments over the year instead of 2 times a year, how would that work for you? I mean, that's a huge benefit right there. And I had a team that did a soft launch of this with their retired patients. And it worked great because, everyone says, well, I'm on a fixed income now, when they're retired. And so you say, you know what? How would it be if you were to pay in the $30 range a month instead of coming in here twice and having to fork over the big bill? So, they loved it. Spreading out, kind of like dollar cost averaging on your electric bills. Your heat is high in the winter. I'm sure it is up there where you are. So spreading that out, so what I'm doing here is I'm using word pictures of how they pay other people and then putting dentistry in the same category. And it seems to flow better that way when we put them in dentistry in the big group with the other bills that they pay. So do you like that concept of, how do you pay your other bills?
Yeah, those are great points, Paula. I think you're hitting on what is the biggest obstacle for most offices is how to present this. And you need to have those verbal skills. Yes. To present it to the patients.
Exactly.
Then it sells itself.
So those are some verbal skills that I've seen work really well. It's just basically some questions that are leaders that take you into the conversation with the patient. You don't say, this is what you don't want to say. We have this new membership plan and, it's $30-something a month and, would you like to sign up for it? No. That's being pushy. That's being salesy. That's being interesting. And we want to be interested in the patient first and pull them in and let it relate to them before we start just pushing our new thing that we're trying to sell. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I think is a great tool is emailing the patients, like your existing patients, you want to convert them over, email them before their appointment. Most people are using an automated system these days to send out messages to the patients. So you can email, text them, say, hey, would you like to save money on your hygiene visit? I mean, it's a great clickbait question. Who's going to say no to that? Would you like to sign up for our membership plan? Here's some details about it. So that's a cool way. In fact, that's what my office did. They emailed me before my upcoming hygiene visit. So they introduced it to me before I ever came to the office.
Yeah, that's a great idea to just get the patient to come in and ask about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then, of course, there's social media, there's Google ads and things like that. So those are just a few of the strategies I know we could just go on and on about this all day, couldn't we, Kevin?
We could. And I think, that's the thing that is really important if you're going to put one of these plans in place, that you work with somebody that can help you implement it, because it's not easy to just do that cold on your own without knowing the verbal skills. And you've given people some great tips here.
I have one more. I have to share this other one. I forgot.
Sure.
It's at checkout. So let's say they're coming out of hygiene and they have a treatment plan and they're not a member and we're going to the financial arrangement. And then you say, how would you like to save money on your restorative treatment that you're about to have? Who's going to say no to that? And so you can begin to share with them the savings they could have if they were a member. I think that's another great option, and I have a lot of teams who've told me they register people at that point.
That's a great point. And, we do that in the back, too. When we present treatment, the patient's not a member, and we present treatment, we can tell them that, here's how much you could save on this if you'd like to hear more about the dental membership plan we have.
That's awesome.
And, I think people are worried. Sometimes dental offices are worried they're going to lose too much money, and they have this patient that's about to accept treatment, is kind of on the fence, and they don't want to write off their fees. I mean, some hints that we've done with our plan, and we try to talk to our member offices about, is that the discount that you give the patient has to be right for your situation. A lot of the plans out there are telling people that they have to write off 10%, they have to write off 20%. We've seen people that have had plans in their office where they're writing off 25%, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
You can write off a proper percentage, and it still pleases the patient. It works out for them. Like I said before, it can't be just a giveaway plan. There has to be, patients have to earn their benefits. The membership cost for the patient has to be in accordance with your office fee structure, so that can't be too crazy where the membership fee isn't bringing in enough to cover your costs for the cleanings, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And one strategy that we've used, if you're worried about losing too much money on these plans and you don't want to have all your patients on it, and that's a concern, is when it comes time to raise your fees, which as dentists we don't do often enough, but when you do that, if you raise your current fees by the amount that your discount is, so in other words, now your membership patients are paying at your present fee schedule, you raise your fees up, so people that aren't in the plan are paying at the new fees, you really aren't discounting anything then. Your patients that are on your dental plan are paying your old fees, which is what you were accepting before. And the people that are insured and they're costing you more money to treat and more time and lost production because you're dealing with insurance company, they're not paying more, which really, from a business standpoint, they should be paying more because they're costing us more to treat. So I don't know if that made sense. It's a paradigm shift for some people, but we're definitely, if offices are struggling with this, we can be happy to talk to you.
Yes, and that's a wonderful point, because that's one of the questions I get, because I have some practices who've been doing this for quite a while now, and they're like, what do I do if I raise my fees? So I think you've built that into the DenVantage program very nicely. And one thing I love about the DenVantage, as I'm understanding more and more about what you're doing, is every doctor can do it differently. There's like no one way that you have to do it. Is that right, Kevin?
That's right. And that's, we saw just even in our 4 offices, and we're up in Maine, we're in the same geographical general area, but some of us are in more populated areas, some of us in rural areas. So it has to be a little bit different. And a lot of the plans out there are cookie cutter, and you just have to follow what they do, and it may not work for you. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think a lot of dentists want to go and start their own plan that works for them. But it's difficult, and we've made the mistakes, and we can help you not make those mistakes, and you can still customize the plan with us.
Because administering it, processing the payments, that can get kind of crazy.
Right. And I'm sure some of our listeners are already thinking about that it's going to be a nightmare. And it is in many cases. But we found that we've kind of gone through those. It's important to have a plan and design it that'll work in your office. And we can help people with that. And I know you can too. It helps in so many ways. In my experience, the plan benefits every team member in the office. And it's important, I guess one of the things we should touch on about implementation is that it's important for the team to be on board with this and understand it. I mean, we've seen too many dentists think that this is a great idea, come back and say, let's put this into place, and it just gets dropped. Our team members, the team members who are listening know this. They may not know that we as dentists know this, but they can make a plan live or die. Mm-hmm. And you team members have a lot of power in the practice, and we put a lot of our trust in you. And rightly so, some of them are afraid of this and afraid of change, and they'll kill the plan. Mm-hmm. But it's such a benefit to every team member. As you said, the hygiene patients don't have to stop at the front desk that are on the plan. It's covered. They're in the plan. We tell people all the time, well, you don't have to stop. Everything's good. And the patients like that. The front desk likes that. Presenting treatment to patients, as we talked about, is much easier. the front desk, I mean, if you could greatly reduce the insurance claims you need to file and the payments processed and calling insurance companies, I mean, how much time would that save and make your day better?
Now you're talking, yeah.
And we don't send bills to these patients, so there's no cost, there's no time involved in sending them a bill. It's part of the plan too, is, as I mentioned before, the contract with the patient. They pay for their treatment at the time of treatment, and they sign that contract. So there's none of this, well, send me a bill later. We're waiting for insurance to pay. Right. So it can help in every area of the office, and I think we need the team on board. And I think you hit on probably the most important thing is giving the team those verbal skills and the support that they can put this together and be successful with it.
Yes, exactly. There's that conversation about the monthly fee and the annual fee, and to go monthly, it's just quite a hassle, but you really convert a patient when you're using the monthly fee. So, we're really supporting a lot of teams with this right now, and I just love what DenVantage is doing, and like I said, we've been talking about it for several years, 8 years now. So we've got some fun things coming up for this fall. Do you want me to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, just I am going to ask you about that. Just one other strategy I want to throw out there that we're working on as a company is, and I think it's a great concept that's been working for us, is to take your membership plan to small businesses in your area and offer to them for employee dental benefits. Because small businesses, and we all as dentists know this from being a small business owner. You were a small business owner, Paula.
Yes.
We can't afford to offer a big dental benefit plan to our employees.
Right.
And but they can afford to offer a membership plan to the employees because they're only paying for the employees that go to the dentist. If an employee doesn't go, which is what the insurance companies hope, is your employees don't end up going so they don't have to reimburse anything, you still have to pay their monthly premium. With DenVantage, you only pay if they go and sign up with the dentist. So it's a big help, and there'll be more coming about that. We'll have a future call on how to implement that. But as far as people that think this is a great idea, and I hope most of you listening do, as we know, it helps in anything is to talk to other people that are successful. And Paula, you're doing something really cool that can jumpstart this process as well as help teams that are struggling with implementation. So, go ahead and tell us what you've got coming up this fall.
Okay, I will. And back to the small business thing, that is definitely one of the tools with the membership plan that is so beneficial marketing to other businesses, small businesses. I had an attorney come to me one day. She's a good friend, and she was a client, and she said, I wish there was something for us. Our firm, they've got the money. Our firm doesn't offer any benefits, a small firm. And she said, I wish my dentist would do something like that. And so it really is easy to discuss it out there. And you and I both know of a doctor who's co-marketing. They've even got it on their website. They're co-marketing with other businesses in their community. And if the patient is a member of their membership plan in their office, they get a special deal at the small business in the area. So there's so much potential for that there. So I'm glad you guys are taking that on.
It brings in, you can bring in a whole group of new patients with very little cost and very little effort by going to a small business and getting all their employees as patients.
Exactly. It really does work. So, yes, this fall, I'm a big fan of Mastermind, and we're getting together. This is a retreat for admin team members, office managers. You don't have to have the title of office manager, but I've had several requests over the years to put together a retreat for the leaders on the team in the admin area. So that's what we're doing, and you're actually going to have Meg come from DenVantage and be with us. And we're going to spend some time working on the verbal skills and how to take this back to your team and implement. I've seen so many doctors who just sign up. They've paid their fee to initiate the process to one of these plans, and it's just sitting there. They don't have any members. So let's roll with it. And I'm excited about that. We're going to talk about some other things too, but yes, this is one of the points we're going to be having some time reaching out with other office managers who are doing this. And so the retreat's going to be at Folly Beach in Charleston, South Carolina. It's a beautiful place, isn't it, Kevin? You've been there a couple times now.
It's gorgeous, and I mean, it's to go and spend a few days in a beautiful part of the country and with other team members that are right there in the trenches with you and struggling, having the same struggles you do. I can tell you, Paula's done this for dentists for a number of years, and I've attended them, and it's just a great, safe place to share. And you come back energized and with so many new ideas, and Paula makes it fun. And I just would encourage anybody that, whether they're doing a membership plan or not, or just administrative people, it's, you don't often get to talk to other people that do the same job you do in dentistry. A lot of offices in your town may look at you as competition, and they don't want to tell you what they're doing. None of that occurs here at Paula's retreats. You get to meet other people, and everybody's open and free to share ideas. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's has issues, and they can work them out. It's just a great, great thing you're doing, Paula.
Oh, thank you. And that's exactly right, Kevin. We have different states coming already signed up, and it's easier to talk to someone who's not in your town, and not perceived as the competition. So, so yes, it's Friday, Saturday, October 26th and 27th, Charleston, Folly Beach. If you want more details, let me know. PaulaHarrisCoaching.com, or you can look up MastermindTeamRetreats.com. That's MastermindTeamRetreats.com. And I'd love to answer your questions. So thank you so much, Kevin, for having me on the call and for what you're doing out there for dentistry. It's just amazing how you're supporting other dentists, and you guys are tops in the field, and I've always valued you as friends and mentors.
Well, thanks, Paula, and the same for you. I think we both have the same passion that we want to help other dental teams out there succeed, and we've been trying to do that for many years together and in other ways, and and that's important. We, the four of us, want to give back to dentistry. It's been a great profession for us, and we see people out there struggling, and we see people struggling with these plans, and I think we've come up with what seems to be a really good solution. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time too, Paula, to help dental teams better understand these membership plans and why they are such a key to the successful practice in today's dental market. And I'd like to just say to all the listeners how to get a hold of Paula. She gave you some contact information. Is there any other ways that they can get a hold of you, Paula, that if they just have other issues or want to coach?
Oh, well, sure. They can reach me at paulaharriscoaching@gmail.com. And Harris is a little weird. It's 2 R's and 2 S's. Or they can call me at 877-947-6937.
Great. And I just want to thank all the dental team members for listening. We've given you some contact information. If you have any questions, you need help in any way, you can call us at DenVantage at 207-266-8434 or email info@denvantage.com. We're happy to talk to you about other plans. You don't have to take ours. We're dentists trying to help other dentists and other dental teams. There'll be numbers there on the screen, I think, here, if you're watching this on YouTube. Dental membership plans are essential in keeping independent dentists independent, I think. So I just want to thank everybody for listening, and good luck out there, and make it fun treating patients and doing what we all love to do. Thanks again, Paula.
Thank you, Kevin. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.